What's going on, guys? My name is Tim Ruswick, and today is going to be something a little bit different than what I normally do. Today's an opinion piece. This is just me sharing my opinion. I mean, I share my opinion a lot on the channel, but today specifically, there's no real data here. This is just my opinion on where the industry's going and what I think. And the topic that I want to kind of discuss is procedural generation and procedural game creation. Basically, games that are different content wise every time you play them. And I personally believe that these games are the future. So back in the day, it started with roguelikes, like some text-based games, ASCII games, cool stuff like that. We had mobile games that are kind of infinity runners that are just kind of randomly generated. Some very minimalistic type of procedurally generated games. Now we're starting to see the rise of some in-depth games, some bigger games, Binding of Isaac, Spelunky, stuff like that. I think, I really, really believe this, that procedural generated games are the future. I think there are still some kinks that need to be worked out with how stuff works. The algorithms need work on how you generate content procedurally with a machine. Stuff like No Man's Sky is a really good example. Obviously, the game had issues and promises were broken, but the actual tech behind that game is amazing. They generate an entire universe. There's problems with it being, interesting. And I think a lot of industry people are working on that. And one of the workarounds currently for procedural games being interesting is taking handmade sections, slices of levels, and then procedurally combining them. So you still get the benefit of having handmade a level, but you also get the benefit of procedural combination and generation, because then you combine those two together. And Spelunky does this. If you've done any research into it, there's a lot of stuff online. If you look for Derek Yu or any GDC talks on Spelunky, he actually talks specifically about how he generates his levels, and basically he creates these little sections, and then he's got an 16 by 16 grid, and he just randomly places the sections and creates a path through them. So that's really interesting. That's a really interesting approach, and that game has done really well because of it. Binding of Isaac is a different type of game, but it's something similar. It randomly places rooms and then generates an entire floor, and then you fight the boss and you move to the next floor. I believe that these games are going to get more complex. I think they're going to get more interesting, and I believe that they are the future. A lot of my development, like obviously Philophobia is a project that I'm working on at the moment, but development beyond there, personally, I'm gonna focus on these procedural elements, not necessarily procedural generation, procedural level generation, but just some kind of unpredictable play experience, something that makes games different every time you play them. Because I think if you can create a core game loop that has procedural elements that's different every time you play, and you can focus your time on the progression mechanics between plays, or how the player grows over time, or the things that they experience, or the achievements they unlock, or whatever it is, if you can focus your efforts on those progression and just have a good core game loop, I think you're going to keep players for a lot longer than most games do. And sure, there's going to be casuals. Sure, there's going to be people that drop off. There are those people with any game, but I think the procedural type games are the future. And I'm going to be doubling down. I'm putting my money where my mouth is on this stuff, because I really, really believe that, and this video will be live in 10 years and 15 years and 20 years. And maybe we'll come back to it and we'll see it. Say, hey, Tim was right, or hey, he was horribly wrong. Who knows? But from everything that I've seen, and just my gut, and just what I think from the games that I play and from the things that I do in games, I just feel like there's so much missed opportunity there. And I am so surprised constantly why this is not a bigger genre. But those are my thoughts. Short video today. I just kind of wanted to share with you guys because people have asked me what I thought about this, and I'm looking into ways to kind of add procedural elements into anything that I create. Almost all of my mobile games are procedural in some way. All my different games have elements of it. And I think even if you can't procedurally generate an entire level or place levels, you don't want to go that far. I think even procedurally creating, randomizing, stuff like drops or weapons or armor or enemy placements or stuff like that, even that makes games more interesting. So any kind of procedural creation at all, I feel like it's going to be a bigger part of games moving forward. And I think especially the whole random experiences, procedural experiences, I think are going to be a big part of the future. So that's all I got for you. I hope you found it useful. What are your thoughts on procedural? What are your thoughts on RNG? What are your thoughts on different play experiences every time a player plays? Let me know your thoughts because I'm interested. I want to know what you guys think. Leave them in the comments down below. Once again, my name is Tim Ruswick, and I'll see you again tomorrow.